Hey everybody, today we're going to be talking about vendor masterminds. Now, it's kind of like out of the box thinking because we've come to the conclusion after talking to so many vendors that there are some things that maybe we can do that we're doing with MSPs that we can actually transition over to the vendor community. And here we go. We've got 3 types of masterminds to offer vendors, and I've got Randal here, the mastermind guru himself, to talk about how we can do this for you. So Randal, welcome. What's the first type?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. And we're very excited because we've seen the success of the Mastermind program across, our events with the partners. And now we can bring it to suppliers. This is very exciting. So what we want to do with the vendors is we want to have 3 types. The first type is really a peer group of your own peers. So putting 10 people in a room that are possibly not in the same line of work, selling different products and solutions, but being able to take advantage of the power of a mastermind group, which is getting some ideas and some feedback from your peers about what worked and maybe what did not work, so you don't have to repeat those errors. And like we said, the parallel is very easy to make because we see the success rate of companies that are doing mastermind groups as our MSPs and how much value they get out of it. It's the same framework, the same value that a vendor will get. So we're seeing, we think that this is going to be great. It's going to be huge because it's going to give them a lot of intel and a lot of actionable things that they can bring back to the company to implement right away.
Yep, no doubt. I mean, look, every vendor's got the same pain points roughly, How do I recruit? How do I improve partner relationship management? How do I, automate my partners? What events are cool to go to? What makes sense? This is the same questions basically that most vendors have. And, while we're focusing a bit on cybersecurity these days, I mean, it's for any vendor in any category, right? But if you zoomed in on cybersecurity, we can have a vendor in endpoint, we can have one in MDR, we can have one in supply chain, we can have, a mixture of companies that collectively actually maybe, deliver a whole solution. So that's interesting because they can lean in each other's networks as well, right? To grow their business.
The partners are changing. The companies that are coming on board today, like they're very different than maybe the ones that started 20 years ago. So you can't use the same strategy. You can't go fishing and use the same lure for every single fish. You have to keep changing it up. So what this allows you to do is to see, okay, what is the person next to me? What's in their tackle box? And maybe I should buy a couple of those things. And really it's about changing it up, because if you do the same thing over and over again, you're not maybe going to get the results that you hope for. So we're trying to get you to change things up. And I think these peer groups, the power of these peer groups is to get that feedback and get the ideas. And we often find that there's so much collaboration. Sometimes, like we've even had events where we had direct competitors in the same room, yet for those 2 hours, it's a peace truce and they're helping each other out. When they come out, they're still competitors, but for those 2 hours, they help each other out. And really the point is, and this has always been our motto, is rising tide floats all boats. If one company is doing well, all companies do well. That's what we want to do, is make sure that we share what works and we share what doesn't work.
No doubt. So that's type 1. So type 1 is where, vendor peers working with each other to solve pain points in real time and going back with real solutions to actually impact their business. And I would recommend, peer groups to everybody, and particularly vendors now have an opportunity to do this through us. So that's type 1. Type 2, let's talk about type 2 now.
Well, type 2 would be, and this is a need that we're seeing, is a lot of companies have ideas. Maybe they want to try something, they want to have new ideas, and we want to create for them a mastermind, but kind of in the framework of a focus group. So if you have an idea that you're not sure about really investing in, and before you invest your time and you invest your money, we can bring to the table some vetted partners that will listen to your ideas and tell you what they like, what they don't like. This can save you an immeasurable amount of time, and it can save you a lot of money, because if maybe you'll invest in something, go down the wrong path and have to take a U-turn or a deviation. And this allows you to kind of throw stuff on the wall and see what sticks. And what
Mhm.
sticks, well, that you double down on, and whatever slides off, well, maybe you put that on the back pocket for another time.
Yeah, even if you're deciding like, is the channel really right for me, right? Do I need to have, what do I need to do to make sure I'm ready for the channel, right? You might be going into a different market, right? What do these companies need in this local region, right? So whatever you're, not sure about, right? We can spin up, let's call it a type two, mastermind session where it becomes more of a focus group,
Yeah.
where we can talk about your challenges and problems or whatever else you're thinking you're wanting to do, and get some real great real-time feedback from an independent group to help you figure out, if you're on the right direction or not.
It's like a laboratory. We allow you to, like, tinker around and try different formulas to see what works. And we're really excited about this one because I think it'll be very valuable in terms of saving time and saving energy and saving money.
Yeah, even if you want to test out what's going on with your partner program. So many ways to leverage that. So the third and final type is what?
Well, the third and final type would be a sponsored mastermind. So here is a classic mastermind. And then we get to put your logo, which will be burned into the eyes of the attendees for 2 hours. But it really is an opportunity to, you know, really help your partners, you know, become more successful, really. And it reminds me of an event that you hosted. We hosted a couple of years ago, and one of the partners talked about MDF funds, and it had nothing to do with what they sold, but they were just showing which MDF, what events had the most ROI. And I always remember that, and I go, man, if ever I want to do an MDF event, MDM. I'm getting all my cybersecurity acronyms all mixed up. But if I ever want to do an MDF event, sponsor an event, maybe client acquisition, I'm going to go to that company because they impressed me. They went up a couple notches in my books because they were out there to help me back in those years where I was an attendee. And I thought that was brilliant. And I think that we can do the same thing. You sponsor an event, and those people are going to remember who helped them with their business because let me tell you, these masterminds, they're very powerful. People are appreciating them so much. We get the feedback from all across Canada, the US, all these events that we do, and they just love it. And they will, attach your name to the experience they have, and that'll be a positive reinforcement for your marketing.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, right, it's not about your product as a vendor, right? It's about helping them to move the needle up on some sort of scale, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it's marketing, maybe it's customer acquisition, customer retention. I mean, there's so many things that they talk about, keeping people, hiring them, and retaining them. These are all big topics, right? That all MSPs have on their, on their challenge
And don't get
list,
us
if you
wrong,
will.
we'll give them a couple minutes to, pitch whatever they want to pitch,
Sure.
but we want to keep that to a minimum because the true value is in the experience, and it's the experience that they're going to remember. They probably won't remember too much of the pitch, but the experience they're going to remember, and they're going to associate that with your company.
Yeah, and you can actually invite your partners if you want to invite them as well, or we can bring partners as well into it as well. So it's up to you. It's you're sponsoring it, so you can bring your partners, or we can bring the partners to your session as well.
And a
So
mixture of both is beneficial because then you get some new eyeballs, some people that maybe don't know you well enough, and then you have an in-depth conversation with the people that you're trying to sell to, or that can really, it's a win-win, right? Because
yeah, maybe they could even recruit some of these partners. I never thought
exactly.
about that,
So
but yeah, it's an option too. Well, there you have it. There's the three types. So as a recap, type one is if you're a vendor and you'd like to connect with other vendors in a mastermind peer group, we can put you in a group and work with you on a monthly basis. And every month you tackle a different topic, a different pain point that you have, and then leverage the power of the peer group to help you solve those problems as opposed to trial and error. So that's the type one. Type two is more of a mastermind focused peer group type thing, where you've got a certain challenge or a certain thing you'd like to get across, and you'd like to get some really solid real-time feedback from these MSPs. So we bring a group together, you lay it out, and we get their feedback in real time, ask questions, make it very interactive, and then you go away with, well, yeah, it's a great idea, it's a bad idea, we need to work on it. So that's the second type. And the third type is kind of cool too as well, because it's a standard mastermind peer group. So we do with MSPs, but you get to sponsor it. So you could say, I want to sponsor the mastermind peer groups in a particular month. All right. And basically we bring all the MSPs together, compliments of you, so it doesn't cost them anything. And then we deliver the real world education. Maybe it's on marketing, sales, HR, whatever the topics is. And you get a bit of a branding on it, of course, and a plug as well, before and at the end as well. So that's one way for you to kind of like do something out of the box, all virtual. And you could actually do this in person as well if you want at one of our live events. But talk to us, ask about how we can help you to leverage the power of mastermind peer groups. And I think we're all going to win bigger. All right.